Simultaneous bomb blasts hit the offices of Turkey's opposition pro-Kurdish People's Democratic Party, HDP, in two southern cities on Monday, wounding 6 people 3 weeks ahead of the parliamentary election. The HDP said President Recep Tayyip Erdoğan, who hopes the June 7 election will pave the way for the passage of sweeping new executive powers, bears political responsibility, along with his allies, for the attacks. The explosion in Adana's district of Seyhan, where 6 executives and workers in the party's local office were injured, appeared to have come from a package delivered to the office. Footage broadcast by CNN Türk showed the windows of the 3-story building smashed, with broken glass and rubble covering the street. One man was seen sitting on a curb with blood coming from his head close to the site of the blast. The street leading to the HDP bureau was closed to traffic. According to Doğan news agency, the explosion left a half-meter gap in the wall of the building. Another explosion occurred at around the same time in Mersin, where HDP CO chairman Selahattin Demirtas is scheduled to hold a public rally at the same day for the parliamentary election slated for June 7. A pot of flowers left outside the door of the Mersin branch is thought to be the source of the explosion. HDP Mersin provincial head Selman Gunbat said the bouquet was likely left on Sunday evening by persons unknown, and added that they suspect the explosion was caused by a time bomb or cluster bomb. Gunbat also said if party officers had not left the office for a planned rally, around 20 people might have badly injured. The ruling Justice and Development Parties, AK Party, Adana Deputy and Culture and Tourism Minister Ömer Çelik said a special team has been formed with the help of the Police Department, Gendarmerie, and Nationalist Intelligence Organization, MT, to shed light on the incident. Following reports of the explosions, Demirtas assured the party's supporters on Twitter that the Mersin rally scheduled for Monday would not be cancelled. In his Twitter post, Demirtas wrote, "Today, we will hold our rally in Mersin at 5 p.m. We are going to be elated and cheerful. Everybody is invited." The HDP, which hopes to pass the 10% election threshold required to enter parliament in the June 7 general election, has been the target of dozens of incidents of violence throughout the election campaign. Party officials have reported more than 60 attacks on HDP election offices across Turkey, increasing pre-election tensions. If the HDP's leftist agenda draws broader support beyond its Kurdish base, it could clear the threshold and pose a major obstacle to Erdoğan's ambitions of establishing a vaguely defined executive presidential system. HDP holds AK Party, Erdoğan as politically responsible for attacks. In a statement released on its website after the attacks, the HDP condemned the attacks on its local bureaus and said dark forces backed by the political authorities are being activated to obstruct our party's development and election work. The political responsibility of these attacks lies with Prime Minister Ahmet Davutoglu, other members of the AKP government and President Erdoğan in particular. The results of this mindset, which makes our party a target in every speech, which insults and defames our CO chairpersons, party administrators and deputy candidates, have been shown today in Adana and Mersin, it continued. The party vowed to go ahead with public rallies and called for the perpetrators of the attack to be apprehended. HDP Deputy Sr. Shuri Yağındır claimed that Monday's attacks were prepared with Gladio-style stay-behind sabotage methods employed by NATO during the Cold War. Speaking during a press conference in Ankara, Önder accused AK Party spokespersons and Erdoğan for preparing the ground for the attacks. "Nobody can say these are not provocations. This is a systematically prepared thing. They cannot pretend to not know that their stance and acts have prepared a convenient ground for these attacks. They cannot be so feeble-minded, or else they would have engaged in the attacks in person," Önder concluded. The HDP deputy also said almost the half of the government's intelligence forces are based in Mersin, and that the attack couldn't have taken place without the knowledge of government officials. "It is not possible for someone to breathe without the government's knowledge. They prepared the bomb and arranged the delivery. No one can expect us to believe that the package could have been delivered without the government's knowledge," Önder added. HDP Deputy Pervin Buldan also expressed anger toward government officials over Monday's attacks. "Neither the President, Nor the Prime Minister nor any other government authorities have issued a condemnation of today's attacks. Their silence is enough, Buldan said on Twitter. Davutoglu, we have been expecting such provocation from the beginning. In a press conference on Monday, presidential spokesperson Brahim Kalin said the presidency strongly condemns the attacks targeting the HDP offices. Any attack against a political party in Turkey is an attack on all political parties, he concluded. Speaking at a public rally in the central Anatolian province of Karaman, Davutoglu said he has been expecting such provocative attacks to take place. We were waiting for such provocations to take place from the start. I am addressing all political parties, we should take a stand against such attacks, whoever they have been made against, Davutoglu said, adding that his party won't make any concessions to provocative attacks that may change direction and target the AK party. Another statement condemning the attack came from Deputy Prime Minister Yalın Akdoğan, who had come to attention with his recent statements targeting the HDP. The game of the provocateurs who try to add violence into the election process will not succeed. I condemn the attacks against the HDP offices in Adana and Mersin and wish a fast recovery to those wounded citizens, the HDP, Akdoğan said in his reports posted on Twitter. As the June 7 election draws near, Akdoğan has intensified his criticism of the HDP, saying it would be great if the HDP fails to pass the election threshold and that the party entering parliament would be problematic for democracy in Turkey. Deputy Prime Minister Bülent Arın defined the attacks as provocations, saying ill-intended people launched these attacks to create chaos in the country, to set people at odds. Opposition condemns attack, calls on politicians to avoid polarizing remarks. Main opposition Republican People's Party, CHP, leader Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu also condemned the attacks on the HDP offices and called on politicians to avoid polarizing the public. We condemn the attacks on the HDP buildings in Mersin and Adana and wish a speedy recovery to those wounded. As politicians, we should avoid statements that may cause polarization in the public. We should take a stance against these attacks together, Kılıçdaroğlu said on Twitter. Speaking to reporters in Istanbul, CHP Secretary General Gürsel Tekin criticized the weak security measures for opposition parties and deputies, saying that the government institutions are not obliged to protect only the ruling party. All intelligence units of the government's police department are busy protecting those ruling. Only 100 police follow a minister, Tekin added. The CHP Secretary General also pointed to the remarks of some ministers, stating those remarks can lead to provocations.